I'm Nana Asante. I'm the Secretary of IDPAD Coalition UK, and that's about the UN International Decade, which will end in 2024. It's a decade for Africans. I also chair Africans for JC Values. I am the Information Officer of Global African Congress, the reparations organization. I moderate Eco-Conscious Citizens, which is an organization that looks at the environment, looking at a clean and healthy and green environment. And I chair A Connections Global Village. At another time, in another place, maybe after lockdown is lifted, maybe we can sit and have a drink and talk about some of these things that all of us are doing. And we'll find that maybe there's a lot of cross-fertilization. So why do we have Africentric parenting skills? Partly because we're concerned about the high number of African children being taken into care. We want to empower parents. As Sister Shadi actually said, it's true, we need to fight, but we also need to learn about the system. So this is what this is about. It's about empowering parents, but it's also about fighting injustice. And why does Save the Woman do that? The inspiration is from an extraordinary woman. She's one of our sisters. She was an African-American congresswoman, the first African-American woman to be elected to Congress. And she said, you don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas. And I'm very pleased to say that Save the Woman, Olaleko, Sister Esther, they have implemented this idea. They managed to get Pastor Chika to come and join and share her knowledge, because it's about making that difference. Part of what Save the Woman does is to campaign. And, you know, we're concerned about the high number of children being taken into care. So Save the Woman has been campaigning for an independent investigation into children's services. We are convinced from the evidence we've seen is that there's a lot of structural and institutional racism in the decisions, and it is important that we challenge that. But as Sister Shade has said, we also need to educate ourselves so that we are well armed and we don't give anybody an excuse to misapply the law. And then I'm hoping this will work, and I'm hoping this will make you laugh a bit, but it's about navigating a clash of cultures. That is what the Africentric Parenting Skills does. It gives you an idea of the two extremes.
Oh, talk to me. Open the door. Lizzie, open the door. Talk to me. Are you very ready this house? I've told you before, you never saw this door. Never until the day you start paying rent or you're paying bills, you're paying for the food you're eating in this house, you cannot lock this door. Who do you think you are? I'm talking to you, so you come and shut the door in your room. Nonsense. Lizzie.
I'm sure you all appreciate that these are two extremes. Children need boundaries. There's no doubt about that. But the way in which we do that, the way in which we put these things in place is something very, very important. And that's something that the course teaches, that we need to have emotional intelligence. We need to know how to negotiate. And all communities go through this, especially when you've uprooted and you're in another community where the rules of engagement are different. I come from Ghana. In our setting, adults are always right. It's a sort of a rule of thumb. You do not challenge adults. The reality is that amongst adults, they sometimes will tell off your parent for going over the top, etc., but never before the young person. And so therefore, it's a different way of doing things. It's about respect. Respect matters more than anything. But it's about negotiating those differences and making sure that we do understand that we're in a new country and they do things differently. There's some things that we should not give up because I think we do them better. It's about realizing that there's good in every culture and applying it. I have a Somali friend, and the Somalis, they call the children who are born here fish and chips. And in a way, it's as if they realize that the children born here think differently, do things differently. But I think it is in our interest and in their interest that we teach them some of the values from the old country. And that is what this course does. It's about that balance. And we had feedback from a participant that I thought was really beautiful because it captured where we are at and what the course does. Who said there wasn't a manual to parenting? I keep on saying there's a manual. There is something. Why was this course not there years ago? I have learned so much. It's a lifesaver. You say your prayer and God answers your prayer. He brought this course at the right time. And that is it. Africentric Parenting Skills. This is the fourth cycle. And if you look at the numbers, since July 2020, 148 people have benefited directly from the course. But of course, that is amplified by social media, especially the YouTube channel that Save the Woman runs. And I would say Save the Woman is changing the narrative of oppression, and is impacting the situation one person at a time, one family at a time. Because we decide this cannot go on. We cannot let our people be oppressed. But what we are doing is also taking responsibility by making sure that they are educated and they have the facts. And now I come to fundraising. As you all know, you need money to oil the wheels. So why is Save the Woman raising funds? One of the first reasons is because we want to run more Africentric parenting courses. And we want more of these 101 cycles. 101 is basic. But we also want to develop and deliver Africentric Parenting Skills 201. That is the next step, so that our people are even better empowered, better informed. We want to recruit and train community advocates. If you've ever been at school with your children and suddenly be faced with a hostile school, you need a community advocate to come alongside you. Somebody who understands and who will be your corner and champion your cause. So Save the Woman knows that this is needed. We also need to retain legal experts. Sometimes there comes a point where you have to take the matter to court. I don't know if you followed the news where Nation of Islam and 34 other community activists took Lambeth Council and the Metropolitan Police to court and won. It had been 4 years. And they've got to pay a settlement because they breached the human rights of and the freedom of speech, etc., of all these people. So sometimes we have to take the fight to them. But the truth is that we need to do a lot of other things before we come to that. But we do need to retain those legal experts, have people on a retainer. And to do that, we need funds. We also need to recruit and train an administrator. As you know, at the moment, Save the Woman is working with, very dedicated volunteers, but they are volunteers and they do have lives, they do have earnings that they have to earn a life. So we do need people that we can pay to take up this job. And you know that any organization with good administration is an organization that will survive. A bad administration can collapse an organization. And last but not least, we need to recruit and train caseworkers, because sometimes you need somebody to be alongside families as they negotiate the system and they fight for justice. So how can you help? Well, you can help by posting a check to Save the Woman. No amount is too small. We know that little drops of water make the mighty ocean. So we're very, very grateful for anything that you can give. You can also go the extra mile and run a fundraising event. For those of you who've been around for some time, for example, every year, Macmillan runs the Macmillan Coffee Morning. It's supposed to be the biggest coffee morning in the world. So you could take some of these ideas, or bake cakes, have a cake sale, whatever you do. If 10 people come together and each one comes with a £5 donation, that's £50 that can come from your fundraising event. And that £50, trust me, Save the Woman is so meticulous and so careful with money. It will go very, very far. But the added benefit of that is you'll be doing a good thing. So you'll get the benefit of having done that. But another extraordinary thing is you would also be fellowshipping, as I would say, as a Christian, but it's also about networking, about sharing with others. So having a coffee morning is a way of meeting people you don't know. It's a way of sharing experiences. It's a way of supporting each other. Another way you can help is to pay money directly into the bank account. If you stop using checks, the bank details are there. You could also sponsor, and we thank our sister Caroline for the sponsorship. It's this kind of hand-holding that really helps us all. And last but not least, you can support the online shop on Etsy. The links and everything are available from Olalekan at Save the Woman or Sister Esther, and you can contact them to get the details, and at your leisure, you can make your contribution. And I'll be ending with a few quotes to encourage us and empower us. And for example, Thurgood Marshall said, none of us got where we are solely by pulling ourselves by our bootstraps. We got here because somebody, a parent, a teacher, an Ivy League crony, or a few nuns bent down and helped us pick up our boots. So it is what we do to help others because we have been helped that does the extraordinary thing. And then Martin Luther King also says, look, when you're being oppressed, don't let people walk over you. And that's when you need to network, you need to work with organizations like Save the Woman. Because basically, what Martin Luther King said is true. Whenever men and women straighten their backs up, they are going somewhere. Because a man can't ride your back unless it is bent. So you don't have to agree to being oppressed. You can stand tall, and you can do that by joining with organizations like Save the Woman. And in terms of making sure that continuing that vibe of not allowing things to crush your spirit, Angela Davis said, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept. And that is what we should never accept oppression. We shouldn't accept the taking away of our children when it's unfair, because we are looking out for the welfare of our children. They deserve to grow up in the homes in which they were born. They deserve to have our culture because we have an extraordinary culture. Every culture is valuable, but we are Africans, most of us, and it is an extraordinary culture. We need to be proud of it. And Corrector Scott King said, look, try to remember the struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in every generation. So it is important that we recognize that if somebody is fighting a fight, just because you haven't gone through that battle, don't think the fight can't come, that oppression can't come to you. So we do need to support each other, help each other, so that we can together fight the injustice and make sure that this world that we are living in, this extraordinary, beautiful world, is a world that supports us. Our children thrive. We know it takes a village to raise a child, but if we work together, we can make sure that the environment is a wonderful one and all of us can thrive, because you need healthy and well-adjusted parents to bring out children. So we need to empower each other. So I'll end here. If you want to become a member of IFPAD Coalition UK, you can contact me by email, or you can ask Save the Woman, because Save the Woman is one of our valued members. You can be an individual member, or you can be an organizational member. Because if you've got an organization, the organization can join. It's an African-led organization for Africans. So Africans are the ones in charge. So they are full members, but we have associate members from other communities. Only Africans have a vote, though, because it is about the African welfare, well-being, but we do value everybody. Thank you very much.